Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. A lot of the time I try and keep up with War Thunder Mobile because it gives us an insight into what is going to be coming into the main game, but also at the same time because they're just adding a ton of really cool stuff there. And as we've talked about before, it's nice looking at other products because then you can kind of get some ideas on what you might want to see in the stuff that, you play. Now, with War Thunder Mobile, the most interesting part of it for me is the naval side of things because they are massively expanding it compared to the standard War Thunder, and I don't know whether it's a testbed thing or if just because that's the part of the game which is easier to control than others, maybe that's why everything's kind of going around. But thanks to Mother Hen on Discord, and by the way, if you do want to ping me with any information on Discord, you can do. We use the Tech Hub, which is of course the Discord of this channel, and we do some giveaways and stuff like that. So if you want to join, make sure to go into the description of this video. And yeah, if you have a question for me, or if you want me to have a look at something or make a video on something, all you have to do is ping me on it and I'll have a look at it for you. So when it comes to what Mother Hen said, it was from Chabby's data mines and from his website, which I'll leave a link into the description for. Of course, there is another expansion coming for War Thunder Mobile. They recently released a new update called Burning Dawn. Burning Dawn brought the BTR 80 platoon, the 76 Jumbo platoon, and also the Magak 6R platoon. But what it also brought was the Takatsuki missile destroyer, which is a Japanese missile destroyer, alongside the Kongo, the Marat, and also the Sub U-305 Type 7 class. So they are expanding their submarines and also expanding their missile destroyers. Now, missile destroyers is something that we've talked about a lot when it comes to the game. How would they fit? How would they not? How would it work overall? Well, the Takatsuki has access to some pretty powerful weaponry in the form of the Harpoon missile, the 340mm missile made by the Americans, and it's probably going to be the major one that many of the forces are going to use. So overall, this is going to do a lot of damage, but also at the same time could be kind of balanced by its reload, or could be balanced in that kind of way. But that is actually not what we're here to talk about. That is just kind of an addition on top of the other missile destroyers that they've added, which is a mechanic which will slowly but surely make more of its way into the standard game. Obviously we have the Bravey, but that's more of an anti-air destroyer. Then also you got the Sayeta. And then there are some other machines that could technically hold missiles. You even have the Douglas, which is there, but maybe we'll see a little bit more. But the thing we want to talk about today is aircraft carriers. So in War Thunder Mobile, they've now added a new HUD for aircraft carriers, meaning the idea of controlling an aircraft carrier instead of it just being around the place. They've added a air group type, so they have the air group type ship self, plane fighter, plane bomber, and also plane dive bomber for carrier fighter, bomber, and dive bomber. So the idea is you have different sets of these things, and then also they've added a bunch of different kind of commands for the HUD itself for the aircraft carriers. Now, we've talked about aircraft carriers before when it comes to War Thunder Mobile and how they added a bunch of code in for them already. Well, since they've done a bunch of major updates since then, they've added a ton of different pieces of content and also just done a bunch of events at the same time. And since it is trying to kind of be a separate thing compared to the standard game, even though they're using a lot of the similar models and a lot of the similar things, there is enough difference between them to make it, kind of, well, I suppose different. Now, for me, it would be really cool to see kind of carriers be in War Thunder Mobile. The thing about War Thunder Mobile is in Naval, the teams are kind of limited, and obviously that means the balance is a bit all over the place with the missile destroyers, with the larger machines like the battleships, with the submarines. So why not just add more on top of it, just to kind of see what happens, just to see how the playstyle would go. Now obviously one of the ways, or one of the things that is also important in Naval to look at is, of course, the games. World of Warships is always brought up when it comes to these things. War Thunder Mobile is very different from World of Warships, which I think is to its credit. There's no point in playing the same game twice, so having a different feeling is very good. And the fact is, in World of Warships, submarines and also aircraft carriers caused a lot of controversy when they came out, just because they weren't very well balanced, and they just took over everything. And it felt like it was a feast or famine setup, where either they were way too powerful, did way too much stuff, and also in the back with security, or they didn't really do anything and they were kind of worthless. So at the same time, that type of mechanic is usually not great, and it's something we've talked about a lot in the game when it comes to War Thunder itself. If you have a mechanic which is boom or bust, it's either just going to aggravate people or it's going to be useless. Helicopters, in many stages of their history in War Thunder, is a perfect example of a boom or bust mechanic, where half the time it can be really powerful, e.g. K-50, earlier H-1Z, now the fire and forget missiles, or it can be completely useless, like the middle French helicopters, which are kind of sat around there, not really doing too much. So it's a set of mechanics which is either way too good or just completely worthless, and in Naval, this can happen quite a lot because you have a lot of armor which is involved, and you do have the whole bigger ship is better thing. But with stuff like aircraft carriers, with stuff like missiles on destroyers, these can be seen as kind of the great equalizers of that state, which I think overall is actually really cool to see. And I hope that these types of mechanics do come to the standard War Thunder, you know, the PC or the, I suppose, console version of it. And the reason for that is pretty simple. When I see new stuff like this, it makes me think about expansion and makes me think about people being able to get access to things that they want to play. And there aren't that many games out there that do the whole package of Naval. And with Naval EC, you know, being a thing in War Thunder, with the event going on right now, there is a decent amount of people playing it and having fun in different areas of it. So even though, like, the player base of Naval always gets massively misrepresented when it comes to social media, there are a decent amount of people who do enjoy it, do going around and, you know, have a bit of fun. So the fact that, you know, they're going to get these larger battleships, they're going to get more battle cruisers, and then also stuff like aircraft carriers and submarines is pretty cool. And the only thing for me to think about is, when do these things get added, not if. If they are sorting them out in War Thunder Mobile, it'll be really cool to have a look at, and hopefully going forward we can see some of those big old HD carriers that they made and get them into action. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd like to thank Schnitzel Stroker, Brendan Quinn, Vilneus, Character Fuel, Carrion Crow, Nicholas Richardson, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, B. Young, Opium Prime, Masonocrat, Lafouche, Alan Hacker, Sem Arslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.